Hey everybody, Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures.
Hi, it's been a while.
It has been a while, yeah. This video is out of sequence. We thought we'd point that out right quick. And we have been a little preoccupied lately because when we were down on the Gulf Coast, we didn't know what was going to happen as far as Hurricane Delta was concerned. So we headed north. Actually, we did it in 3 legs, didn't we?
Had to make some quick decisions.
Yeah. And as you can see in the background here, we're sitting at a gorgeous spot.
Yes, this is absolutely beautiful.
And
this is probably one of my favorites. And we'll
so
talk
far
about it later.
Yeah, we will do an in-depth video on this particular campground, and it is gorgeous, and it's kind of a local secret.
I think so.
Yeah. We never expected this to be here. It's a few miles south, I would say about 30 miles or so south of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, on the Arkansas River. And we wake up to a gorgeous view every morning. We've been here now, this is our 3rd morning. We've been here for 2 nights, right?
Actually, this is our 2nd morning. We came in on Monday, didn't we?
You're right, and this is Wednesday morning, so I get confused.
It is confusing.
But it's beautiful here. This is the Arkansas River, and this is our 3rd campground that we've stayed at along the Arkansas River, and so far we are falling in love with the campgrounds that are along the Arkansas River.
Yes.
Yeah. So enough about that. Most of our videos, when we do showcase Corps of Engineer campgrounds, we have nothing but good things to say.
And most of that's the case.
And that's going to be the case. And however,
there's always an exception to the rule.
There is always an exception to the rule. But let's tell a quick story about how we ended up.
Yeah, how did we
end up
there?
Right. First off, we were staying at a campground down in Goshen, Mississippi, which is about 10 miles east of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. It was Shepherd State Park, and even though it's called Shepherd State Park, it's really operated by the city of Goshen, Mississippi. And we liked it there. It was different than what we'd ever stayed at before. And let's just say it was rustic in nature.
Yeah, we had electric and water at the site, but it was just different than because of the core parks we were used to staying at.
Right, than what we were used to. Now, we would return there someday.
Yes.
And, we would return there. It's a really neat place to go, and what we also like about it, too, and maybe I shouldn't say this, that during the wintertime, they will let you stay up to 3 months. Is that what they told us?
I believe that's what they told us, yes.
Which would be neat for snowbirds, to go there. But anyway, they kept talking about Hurricane Delta, and of course we would follow it on AccuWeather, and then we would
every day, maybe twice a day.
Yeah, and then of course we would watch weather reports, local weather reports, and things like that. And each day they had a different idea of where it was going to go.
Right.
And it was so confusing to us.
Well, they said it was going to land anywhere from the Texas border.
Yeah.
To the Florida border.
Right.
And we were, in that area.
Kind of in the middle of all that.
It's like, okay.
And this cone of uncertainty really kind of made us a little nervous. Now, let's back up a little bit. We are used to we live in areas where tornadoes happen a lot.
Right, and we know what to look for.
We're totally unfamiliar with hurricanes, so we weren't about to take a chance on getting blown away. One way or another, or flooded out, or we didn't want that knock on the door at midnight saying, you've got to leave now, And the next thing we were concerned about there, but we were in so many trees, and we had that concern again at the next place we went, but we'll talk about it right quick. We were amongst a lot of trees and stuff, and one of my biggest concerns is if we did have high winds where we
they were saying 120 to 150 mile an hour winds.
I imagine trees coming down on top of the trailer and everything else.
So we decided to leave.
We ended up, there are some friends of ours that we have met, and we did a video walkthrough about their trailer. We won't mention any names, but they are one of our followers, and we've kind of stayed in touch over the years. In fact,
they were at the campground as well.
Yeah, they were. And they were heading out on Wednesday, and I said, I think I'll just follow you. And they said, you need to just come to our driveway. And they weren't too far from, not too far from Jackson, Mississippi. So we came there. Now, that was hard to take there. Where they had a beautiful setting, absolutely gorgeous setting, kind of out in the country. Yeah. Here again, lots of trees, lots of tall pine trees. I mean, we're in the middle of Mississippi, you know. And I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because they have a relative that travels in a Class A. So they already had a 50 amp hookup, and they had water right at where they wanted us to park. So it was just really hard to take, you know.
And Jan, I'll mention Jan.
Yeah, just say Jan.
Jan made us some wonderful meals.
Oh, yeah.
Over there.
Yeah, while we were there.
Like royalty.
Yes, yes. But then again, we got to watching the weather, and now they were saying, well, after it hit the coast, and if it ended up hitting far west of where we were, although I did talk to Shepherd State Park later, and they said that they did have a pretty hard wind for about 2 hours, and that was about it. And then it just settled down after that.
And they're used to that, so they said, that's about it. Nothing major.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, it's possible that we could have stayed. But now they're saying, AccuWeather and everybody else is saying, our particular spot where we are,
close to
Jackson, is going to be hit with 50-mile-an-hour winds. And here again, I wasn't too concerned about 50-mile-an-hour winds, because we have been in winds like that before through storms that we went through in northwest Arkansas. What I was concerned about again, huge trees, huge giant trees. And here again, I could see one coming down on the trailer, or a huge limb coming down on the trailer.
Or our vehicle.
Right, or a vehicle, yeah. And we love our rig, period.
Well, we're kind of attached to both.
Yeah, kind of attached to both. So, and here I am repeating you again. So what we did, we decided, well, we're going to go on up into northern Mississippi, and Deb found a campground that we could go to.
Up by Memphis.
This is the one we're going to talk about. Not too far from Memphis, still in Mississippi. It was about 30 minutes from Memphis and 30 minutes from Tunica, Mississippi. Right. Yeah. So she makes reservations there.
And I went ahead and grabbed for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because every other campground I looked at was full.
Right.
So I thought, okay, this is available for 2 weeks. I'm grabbing it.
And you use the same criteria you always do because we've learned, you know.
I embellish the size of my rig because that usually gets me a flatter place to park. Because we like to have room for the trailer, plenty of room, and of course our vehicles. So I embellish and say we're 40, 45 feet long. So that usually works out. Yeah.
So we get there, and to this particular campground, and what was the name of the campground?
Dub Patton.
Yeah. Say it again.
Dub Patton.
Yeah.
On the campground.
Dub Patton Campground on, I forgot the name of the lake up there.
I don't remember either. We'll have to put it in writing.
Yeah, we'll put it in writing. But anyway, so we get there, and the slab was like that. You know, probably the steepest angle we'd ever tried to park on ever.
And you really couldn't even see the slab because it was so covered with tree limbs and leaves and other debris.
And we went ahead and parked the trailer on it.
I got the rake out because we bought a rake, and I went and raked the pad off.
Yeah, the best we could.
Yeah, so we could at least park.
Yeah, but we got it parked, and of course I was nervous, even though I had my wheel chocks in place and everything else. I was still nervous that I'd wake up the next morning or wake up in the middle of the night with the feel of the trailer rolling down
into the
gully behind us. And of course, when we get up of it during the day, you know, and we try to walk anywhere outside, we were either walking steeply uphill or steeply downhill. And the terrain fell off sharply on either side of the pad, and you can't hardly see that in the photo, but that pretty much rendered the picnic table useless.
And the only place we had to sit outside was right smack dab in front of the trailer, between where the van was backed up and the trailer began. That was the flattest place to sit.
And in addition to that, as far as our picnic table was concerned, where it was placed, and you can't see this in any of the photos because I didn't show that, but it was within just a few feet of our neighbor's outside door to their particular RV. And fortunately, we didn't have a neighbor to that side yet while we were there, but had there been a neighbor there, you know, it would have really felt funny if we were sitting there eating at the picnic table if we went ahead and tried to utilize it. and our neighbors were, 10 feet away from us. That would just really be weird.
Which is totally unusual for Corps of Engineer campgrounds.
Now, there was a campground near that one, not even a mile away, south of Buttman. Is that what that one was called?
Yes.
And we did go in there and look, and we found a few sites that were more to our liking. But when we went in to try to reserve those and modify our reservation, of course, those sites were taken.
Right.
So,
all the good sites were taken, so we weren't improving our situation in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So we made a decision.
We've had enough.
We made a decision Sunday afternoon. We'd been there. We moved over Friday, so we was there Saturday. Sunday afternoon, we said, this isn't what we signed on for. Let's move on.
No.
So we did.
Mm-hmm. And Deb got on the internet and found this particular campground.
We'd never heard of it.
Never heard of it before, and like I say, there's not that many sites here. I would say maybe 10. Maybe 10 or so. But man, it's nice and quiet, level pads. We'll do an in-depth review on this one. This is a really neat place to stop off on your way somewhere, or if you want to just go ahead and spend some leisurely time, here. It's really nice and quiet and everything. But as far as Dub Patton Campground was concerned, it's one of those times when we decided it's just best to move on.
It's interfering with our good mood.
Yeah. Yeah, the vibes were all bad.
It's time to move.
Yes, as Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, yes, but they were all bad.
They were all bad.
So anyway, now, some of you may be familiar with that campground, and you may have had an entirely different experience than we did.
Yes.
And that's definitely a possibility. We just, the spot that we had, there were some decent spots in there.
But we didn't have it.
But they were taken. That was the next thing. They were taken. I guess the biggest thing that kind of bothered us more than anything else, although I did walk into the bathhouse after we'd already packed up, the bathhouse was clean and nice. But as far as the campsites were concerned, maintenance was definitely lacking.
And maybe they had just recently had a major storm and it had blown down all tree rims and all the leaves, and maybe that was the case and they just hadn't had time to clean it up. I don't know, but...
And we never saw a park attendant.
No.
The whole time we was there. Now, a ranger drove through once a day.
Right.
But we never saw a park attendant. So we don't know if they had people that did cleaning or if the season was winding down and they had nobody at that time or whatever. It's just that, it could have been a case of bad timing on our part. There's a lot of things that could come into play here, but
so the moral of this story
is, as we said before in a video a long time ago, it's not always a bowl of cherries.
No, it isn't.
No.
And sometimes you just gotta switch gears.
That's right. And we switched gears, and we're back at a gorgeous campground now. We are out of sequence with this video. We'll say that one more time. I have lots of video that I need to get edited and get out there for you folks to enjoy. One in particular I think you're going to thoroughly enjoy. We did another walkthrough of an 8.5 by 24 foot cargo trailer conversion while we were at Shepherd State Park.
Yes, and it was
and
gorgeous.
You will enjoy this video. And he did some things a little different that really piqued my interest, and I think it's going to pique some of y'all's interest as well. And we can't wait to get that one uploaded so you can see it, but I need to take time now. We've been so busy running from Delta and then trying to find a decent place to stay where we can relax a little bit, and we're here now.
Yes, we are.
So all that stuff will get done. And
I might even pull out my painting.
Yeah, there you go, and start painting again. I mean, my goodness, this is gorgeous.
Yes,
we see a barge come through now and then. It's just really cool here. And we saw some huge birds on the water yesterday, and although we couldn't get close enough to be for certain, but they looked like they might have been pelicans.
Oh, they were pelicans,
You think
but I
they
didn't
were?
realize pelicans were that huge.
Man, these things are big. And so, it's been very enjoyable compared to what we've been through for the last week and a half, But here again, that's the beauty of doing what we do. All we got to do is hook on and
That's the
and get
beauty of
going.
living in a house on wheels. If you
Yep.
don't like where you are, you can move.
You can move on. And we've already met some wonderful neighbors here where we're at and had some nice visits with them. And it's just been really nice. It's been nice. You know, a nice change from what we were experiencing the last little time. So, our plans now, we do have to go back to Northwest Arkansas during the month of November for a variety of reasons, one of which is doctor's appointments again, you know, run through all that. And then we're going to be headed back down to the southeast corner of the country
anyway.
again. That's our plan. Our plan is to head back down unless if things change, but we don't foresee anything, you know, that's causing that to change. So we will be back down in there. We want to go over into Alabama and Georgia and drop down into Florida. So we will have lots of content to show you. But we wanted to point out, we just felt it was the right thing to do to point out that, you know, even though we brag about Corps of Engineer campgrounds all the time, we just left one that we wish we never would have went to in the first place. I mean, how plain can I be? And if I offended someone that thinks that's a great campground, we're sorry. Here again, it could be our particular circumstances and the bad timing. That could be what happened. But we didn't come away with a good feeling.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
So here, there you go. Hey, we're still happy and cheerful though, right?
Yes.
Anyway, so that's about it. We're going to let you go now. This is Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures. And even though we had what we consider to be a semi-unpleasant experience, we're still saying that we're not camping.
We're living.
Y'all take care. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now.